Hi, wonderful book people. It has been a crazy week because we received a bunch of snow. It just snowed and it snowed and it snowed some more for like 3 days. It was a lot of snow, and so now we have like a foot of snow outside, which for some of you I'm sure is not a lot. But for where I live, we rarely get that much snow. If we do, it's a couple inches. And as you may know, I broke my arm like 2 months ago from walking in the snow. So I have been mainly avoiding the snow, although I went out this morning and dived right in because, I mean, who can help it? It looked beautiful outside. But that doesn't have to do with books. So let us get into a nice, wonderful February book haul. This is a part 1. There will definitely be a part 2. I have plenty of books to show you. I have 9 books in part 1. I hope you guys enjoy all of these. There's a variety between adult books and teen books, so yeah. First book is The 12th Enchantment by David Liss. This is adult historical fiction with some magic involved in there. Basically, it is about this young woman who is 20. She has a father who just died recently, and now she must get married because she's stuck with her horrible uncle. It's kind of that Pride and Prejudice era. And then this young man walks in to their house, and he is cursed. And he tells her not to marry the miller who she's supposed to marry. And he's actually a Lord Byron, I don't know how to say that name, an infamous man, I believe. Yeah, and then there's a lot of magic and tomes and like, it's gonna be great. I've read a couple magical historical fiction novels and they've always been good, so hopefully this one will join that group. Next is these 2 books. You got Magic Burns and Magic Strikes by Leona Andrews. The first one is Magic Bites, I believe. It is adult, paranormal, fantasy / romance, kind of, about a lady who basically fixes magical situations. She fights bad guys, and she has a bit of a history to herself. She goes out there, basically the world is kind of half technology, half magic. Sometimes technology works, sometimes magic works. They don't often work together, but when technology is working, or even when magic's working, and there's bad guys out there, not a lot of people can defend themselves. I really enjoyed the first book a whole lot, and that is why I got the next 2 books. After that, we have The Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry. The Giver is my favorite book, and this is the second book. It's kind of a series, kind of not. I don't think it follows the same character. I have the 3rd book, and I've been looking for a copy of the 2nd book used because it's such a tiny book. I don't want to pay like $9 for it brand new. And I finally found a decent copy, although it doesn't match my other copy. The Giver is probably the first dystopian book I read, and if you haven't read it, you really need to go read it. It'll, for me, blow everything out of the water for you. Then we have Demon King by Sienda William that name. I can't say that name. I know that my friend has been reading this book or this series and really enjoying it, and it looked fantastic, so I was like, I need that book. It's YA magic fantasy. Basically, there's 2 main characters. There's a reformed thief who stops a bad event from happening, but it turns out that it puts him and his family in danger. And on the other side, there is a princess who's kind of more like kick-butt princess, who is trying to stop bad events from happening. And I think there's at least 3 books in this series, or trilogy maybe, and I can't wait to read it. Then we have Tithe, whatever it is, by Holly Black. I read The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black, absolutely loved it. I've heard more mixed things about this book, but you know what? I'm okay with that because it sounds great. It's about a girl who, it involves fairy or fae, I'm not exactly sure how. She follows around her mother's rock band, and then something happens. I think she's threatened or something, and so she has to go back to live at her home, and things start happening, and she's kind of like caught in the middle of this war. I'm really hoping it's good because I loved Coldest Girl in Cold Town. Okay, here is Angel Fire by Courtney Allison Moulton. I don't know how to say that. I picked this book up because I really just wanted to buy a book at the bookstore because they didn't have the book I was looking for, and I saw this book and I was like, is a typical name and cover, but then I read on Goodreads that a lot of you really loved it. It has great reviews. It is supposed to be kind of like overly YA romantic, and I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm hoping I love it anyways. It is about a girl who stops bad guys or evil creatures who feed on people's souls, and there's some guy, and you know, YA girl book. So fingers crossed that it's good. Okay, down to some really good books. We have Independent Study by Joelle Charbonneau. I absolutely love the testing, just loved it, and I have been waiting to read this book. I heard some people don't like it quite as much because it's supposed to be a little slower. I don't really mind a little bit slower, and I'm hoping that I really love it just as much as the first book, and I cannot wait to read it. It is similar to The Hunger Games, but it definitely stands on its own right. And best for last, and what I'm currently reading, and I'm sure all of you will be extremely happy, is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Now, I'll say, for some of you who don't know me very well, I never read contemporary, especially YA contemporary. It's not my thing, but recently I just had a craving to read this book, and I'm sure just like everybody else, so far I'm only like 20 pages in, but I'm enjoying it, and I think I have to be in the right mood to read contemporary, because usually I'm in the fantasy or dystopian mood. I love this cover. There's something so appealing about it, and I cannot wait to continue on. So for those of you who didn't see a Friday Night Reads from me, this is what I'm currently reading for this weekend, if I don't get too distracted by the snow and other things. So, yeah. So these are all the books that I'm hauling in part 1. I am definitely excited to read them. I think there's a lot of great books in there. And please let me know if any of you have read them or are reading them and what you thought. No spoilers. Yeah. So I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye!